counterproductive ones. The need for careful attention to detail continues as you complete your message. Revise your content to make sure everything is clear, complete, and concise. Even small flaws can be magnified in readers' minds as they react to your negative news. Produce clean, professional documents and proofread carefully to eliminate mistakes. Careless errors in a negative message can make a bad situation even worse by creating the impression that the sender doesn't care enough about the situation to invest the time and effort it takes to produce a professional quality message. Finally, be sure to deliver messages promptly. Withholding or delaying bad news can be unethical, even illegal. A negative message using the direct approach opens with the bad news, proceeds to the reasons for the situation or decision, and ends with a positive statement aimed at maintaining a good relationship with the audience. Depending on the circumstances, the message may also offer alternatives or a plan of action to fix the situation under discussion. Stating the bad news at the beginning can have two advantages. Number one, it makes a shorter message possible, and number two, it allows the audience to reach the main idea of the message in less time. If you've chosen the direct approach to convey bad news, come right out and say it. However, even if the news is likely to be devastating, maintain a calm, professional tone that keeps the focus on the news and not on individual failures or other personal factors. Also, if necessary, remind the reader why you're writing. In most cases, follow the direct opening with an explanation of why the news is negative. The extent of your explanation depends on the nature of the news and your relationship with the reader. For example, if you want to preserve a long-standing relationship with an important customer, a detailed explanation could be well worth the extra effort such a message would require. However, you will encounter some situations in...
Okay, I will not actually go through the whole video because that will be another maybe 15 minutes. So let's move on with our lecture. So right now, through the video, you basically learn a brief idea how we should approach basically negative messages. And in our book, basically, it goes through very briefly. It said buffer the news, but still be clear. So you still need to basically convey some bad news at the beginning, but you like to approach with very politely. Writing some appreciation of doing business with us or with our firm. Then you move on to make a clear statement what kind of service you can provide, what you cannot provide, and facts support your view, such as the company policy. And then again, make the closing with the remark of basically, we'd like to continue to do business with you, and in the future, we'd like to continue to serve you better. That kind of positive attitude. Okay. This is, let's move on. Now we talk about neutral message. Neutral message is something very redundant. And basically in neutral message, we like to be clear about your inquiry or response. And basically in the introduction or abstract, you will bridge basically or transition between previous letter or previous communication. Then you like to basically again state purpose of letter. Then in the body you want to write the detail that supports purpose statement, description of item requested, or requirement related to invitation, or it could be any kind of purchase order or complaint letter, and description of ID being sent. In the conclusion letter, again, you want to state your appreciation and description of action that should occur next. Basically, you will receive your order within a certain day, or we will replace your broken some component within a few days, some kind of provide a solution. Okay, then the book also goes through persuasive message, something you have to persuasive the reader. So in the abstract, in the introduction, you focus on how the information will help the reader. So we are trying to bring their attention. And in the body, clearly explain the steps to be taken and emphasis on benefit to the reader and reference to any attachment or supporting material. And in the conclusion, basically what will happen next and offer further explanation of future contract. And as you expected, I do have a video for persuasive messages. So that will be my last video actually. Okay. So as you can see, the title of this chapter is Writing Persuasive Messages. Probably like other video, we will not watch whole lesson, but let's try to get some idea of persuasive messages.
Chapter 9, Writing Persuasive Messages. Whether you're convincing your boss to open a new office in Europe or encouraging potential customers to try your products, you'll use many of the same techniques of persuasion, the attempt to change an audience's attitudes, beliefs, or actions. Because persuasive messages ask audience to give something of value, money in exchange for a product, for example, or take substantial action, such as changing a corporate policy, they are more challenging to write than routine messages. Successful professionals understand that persuasion is not about trickery or getting people to act against their own interests. It's about letting audiences know they have choices and presenting your offering in the best possible light. In today's information-saturated business environment, having a great idea or great product is no longer enough. Every day, untold numbers of good ideas go unnoticed and good products go unsold simply because the messages meant to promote them aren't compelling enough to be heard above the competitive noise. Creating successful persuasive messages in these challenging situations demands careful attention to all four tasks in the planning step, starting with an insightful analysis of your purpose and your audience. In defining your purpose, make sure you're clear about what you really hope to achieve. The best persuasive messages are closely connected to your audience's desires and interests. To understand and categorize audience needs, you can refer to specific information such as demographics, the age, gender, occupation, income, education, and other quantifiable characteristics of the people you're trying to persuade, and psychographics, personality, attitudes, lifestyle, and other psychological characteristics. When analyzing your audience, take into account their cultural expectations and practices so that you don't undermine your persuasive message by using an inappropriate appeal or by organizing your message in a way that seems unfamiliar or uncomfortable to your readers. If you aim to change someone's attitudes, beliefs, or actions, it is vital to understand his or her motivation, the combination of forces that drive people to satisfy their needs. Once your situation analysis is complete, you need to gather the information necessary to create a compelling, persuasive message. Media choices are always important, of course, but these decisions are particularly sensitive with persuasive messages because such messages are often unexpected or even unwelcome. For instance, some people don't mind promotional email messages for products they're interested in. Others resent every piece of commercial email they receive. Persuasive messages can be found in virtually every communication medium, from instant messages and podcasts to radio advertisements and skywriting. In fact, advertising agencies employ media specialists whose only jobs are to analyze the media options available and select the most cost-effective combination for each client and each advertising campaign. The nature of persuasion is to convince people to change their attitudes, beliefs, or actions, so most persuasive messages use the indirect approach. That means you'll want to explain your reasons and build interest before asking for decision.
Okay, like I said, we will not watch the whole video. If you are interested in this video, you can go into YouTube and basically search the how to write positive messages or persuasive messages. Okay. Now, we talked about actually letter already, and so letters are your letter to your client and vendor, what memos are to your colleague, and we need to talk, write in professional tone, and we need to basically specify action oriented. And in the memo, basically, it has to be clear, brief, tactful, and in abstract, we want to basically state clear statement of purpose and outline the main part of the memo. In the body, we write supporting point with a strong point at the beginning, and frequent use of short paragraph, and absolute clarity about how memo relate to reader, tactful presentation of any negative news, and reference to attachment. Basically, similar thing we already went over. And in the conclusion, what step needs to be taken next, and what effort to retain goodwill and cooperation from the reader. Then in the email, actually, that was our first video. Basically, we talk about guideline of email. We use style appropriate to reader. We have to know who the reader is. The reader, our government agency we are trying to make a proposal, or our subordinate. And be sure your message indicate contact to which you apply, and choose the most appropriate method for relying to the message, and format your message carefully. I'm rather going through this very rapidly because we already watched the video. And basically, we like to chunk the information for easy scanning and give reader a method to basically abstain from receiving future notice, and a suppressed email address of recipient, and when writing an important message, consider composing on your processor. And also, when you are sending the email, sometimes you can use CC or BC. The distinction between CC and BC is CC will indicate whether the reader, receiver will know who else the message was sent. But if you use BC, they only know that they are the only recipient. So you don't expose other recipient of your email. And also, same format in email, we always use ABC. Abstract is introduction. Basically, it can be friendly, greeting tone. We're trying to be short, clear statement, purpose, and we can even make a list. In the body, again, that's supporting statement. We try to use short paragraph, headings, and list, and some abbreviation. In the conclusion, we again summarize our main point and basically what action comes next. Basically, there are different style of email. Some style, basically, email can be, informal, and some email can be formal. But basically, the most of the general rule is basically you like to, once you make a draft, you can basically revise it. And sometimes because that email slot, when you send the message, it doesn't have a capability to check your spelling or grammar or font. So sometimes it's better to write on the Microsoft Word, copy it and paste it in email. In that case, you can basically check all your spelling before you send out. Okay, then basically compare memorandum versus email. Send a memorandum if document is longer than can be viewed on the computer screen, and document includes special character, special graphic, or document will be posted in printed form, or document containing very sensitive information. It's better to send a memorandum than email. Okay, this lecture was a little longer than other because I wanted to watch a different video, but I wanted you to get some specific idea of difference between positive, negative, and persuasive writing, and different style of email and letter. Nowadays, actually, whenever you write any kind of email, letter, proposal, best thing I advise you to is Google it. So when you actually Google it, you can find the sample letters, email, proposal, or report, or if it's documents that you have to submit to the court for complaint or any kind of advocate document, Google, you will find some document, some sample document. And you will see even in the Google, if you actually write sample letter for some specific description, you will find the sample. And nowadays, actually, whatever I do, I Google it first. If I want to submit some paper, some proposal, I Google it, I find a template or sample first, then I write it. So there are tons of information available for you, even in the Google, in the YouTube, or some other software. So please, this is information age. If you just do little research, you don't have to go down to library to find more information. You will find all the information you need. And when you write the letter, you can read the sample, then you will make your life much easier than trying to write your own. Okay, thank you very much. We'll end here today.